What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. What is up, guys? Listen, I have been waiting to talk about this, and I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it with you guys. So you probably already heard the news that Shannon Sharpe's case has been dismissed. There's a secret settlement. There are no details. The case has been dismissed with prejudice. And what that means is she cannot come back and file a lawsuit later. So I was going to talk about this. And the thing about it is what I was going to say actually happened before I reported it. So I'm just going to go right into it and share this information and details and get your thoughts on it, because I really don't want you all to be fooled. He's still trying to control the narratives when it comes to this situation, still trying to keep control of it all. But to be honest with you, he definitely has lost control. All right, guys. So before we get into the settlement, I'm going to share my screen because I want to share this story, because this is the narrative that was run a few days prior to this news story about him settling and this case being dismissed. So this was the story that was being run initially. And it says Shannon Sharpe's RAPE accuser fails to show up to court. The first court hearing in the Shannon Sharpe RAPE lawsuit ended with a disappointed judge because the woman who filed the complaint didn't bother to show up. The plaintiff and her attorney were no-shows. According to KLAS in Las Vegas, no attorney showed up on behalf of the unidentified plaintiff during the hearing. Clark County District Court Judge Anna Albertson reportedly expressed disappointment that the plaintiff had no legal representation at the start of the hearing. Sharpe was not in Vegas, was represented by attorney Robert DeMarco. Sharpe's attorney, therefore, requested that the judge review the progress of the case and extend it by 45 days, and the judge delays the case. The judge granted the extension, and the next hearing will be on September 3rd. Legal analysts wondered aloud if this was part of the accuser's strategy. Whether to set up a settlement conference or to set hearings for litigation, you'd expect all parties to be present. Attorney Robert Draskovich told KLAS TV, "I can't see a tactical advantage to be gained by failing to appear." At the same time, Draskovich also questioned the wisdom of Sharpe being represented by an attorney who is not from the city. Generally, it's better to have homegrown counsel. So it continues talking about how he's publicly shamed and how he was ousted from ESPN, blah, blah, blah. So initially, the story that was being shared by vloggers, bloggers, news outlets was she was a no-show, and so was her attorney. I was going to talk about that initially when that story came out, because I just said something in the milk ain't clean about that, and I really feel like that was a strategy on Shannon Sharpe's part, in my personal opinion. All right? So to share this story with you guys, because this was the real deal. Even though I know a lot of people don't like Tony Busby and he's gotten a bad rap because of all of the Diddy lawsuits, the allegations of civil complaints against, Diddy, and even the Jay-Z situation, which that case was, the plaintiff actually withdrew the case that Tony Busby was representing. But anyway, Tony Busby, July 9th hearing in Shannon Sharpe case had been postponed by agreement of counsel. Had been postponed, not has been. It had already been postponed. There was a hearing on Wednesday in the civil lawsuit against Hall of Fame tight end, and that sounds so creepy saying that, because he's been making a few females loose ends with his actions. But anyway, There wasn't supposed to be. Attorney Busby has informed PFT that the lawyers had agreed to postpone the July 9th hearing. Busby shared this statement from Sharpe's legal team. We are apologizing to the by letter for wasting the court's time. There was a mutual agreement among counsel to postpone the motion scheduled for July 9th. As a result, there was no expectation by our team that her legal team would appear in person. It's odd that Sharpe's lawyers would have shown up for the hearing if the hearing had been postponed. It's odd that if, when the judge expressed disappointment regarding the failure of the plaintiff's lawyers to appear, Sharpe's lawyers would have said that the lawyers had agreed to postpone the hearing. Regardless, that's the explanation for why Busby wasn't there. So at that time, it says the case otherwise continues. At some point, Sharpe will respond to the complaint, unless, of course, the case settles. In theory, that can happen at any time. And I've said this over and over again. Cases can be scheduled for trial, and the case can be settled when it's a civil situation, of course, not criminal. But yeah. So when I initially heard that him, well, he didn't, but his attorney, his counsel, showed up to this hearing, and the spin was out there that the plaintiff didn't even show up and neither did her attorney. I said, you know what? It sounds like someone's trying to make her and, her legal counsel look bad by having this play out, because there is no way, there is absolutely zero chance that the attorney and the plaintiff, it could be possible that the plaintiff wouldn't show up if it's just a hearing, but there would be absolutely no way that the plaintiff's counsel would not show up to a hearing. It's more likely that a defendant and defense counsel wouldn't show up to a hearing, but even that is more, unlikely. It's not plausible that that would happen. But what I'm saying is, it's always in the benefit of the plaintiff and the plaintiff's counsel to show up for a hearing. So I just did not see that being a real situation. I felt like that was a play. And it absolutely was. Because now we have a few days, not long after that situation, the news broke that the case had reached a quote resolution. And the $50 million lawsuit will be dismissed, according to Tony Busby. So, and this has been reported on multiple outlets, guys. And so, yeah, the case was dismissed and a settlement has been reached that is private. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and go through this story. Former NFL star Shannon Sharpe has reached a settlement with the anonymous woman who filed a lawsuit against the famed tight end. I really wish they would stop using his position in football when they talk about this situation, because honestly, especially knowing some of the details of what she accused him of doing, yeah, he's made a few loose ends, accusing him of multiple instances of assault, SC actual assault, battery, and SC actual battery, according to a statement from the accuser's attorney on Friday. Both sides acknowledge a long term, consensual, and tumultuous relationship. After protracted and respectful negotiations, I'm pleased to announce that we have reached a mutually agreed upon resolution. All matters have now been addressed satisfactorily, and the matter is closed. The lawsuit will thus be dismissed with prejudice. And trust and believe, if the plaintiff's counsel, Tony Busby, is announcing that the case was mutually agreed upon with a resolution he's pleased with, and the case is dismissed with prejudice, you better know that she got more than the $10 million that he initially offered her before she filed this lawsuit. So yeah, we may not know the details. I'm not saying she got the full 50 mil that she was requesting or demanding. I don't believe that she just got 10 million or less. She definitely got more than 10 mil. We do know that. The terms of the settlement were not disclosed. The lawsuit originally sought compensatory and punitive damages of more than 50 million. Sharpe's legal representatives previously described the lawsuit filed in April as an attempt to shake down the popular podcaster for millions of dollars and said he categorically denies all allegations of coercion or misconduct. And he also disputed the claims. To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. You remember that video, right? Let's see if we can pull it out. All right, guys, so we have the video right here.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
Liar. And I can say that with confidence, liar. Because here's the thing, guys. He said that he was suing her for defamation. What happened to that? What happened to the lawsuit for defamation? What you know what I'm saying? What happened to the fight? What happened to all of the things that he said in this clip, in this video with his Easter jacket on? This is a shakedown. You refuse to give in. I know my friends and fans and family know what this is about. Yeah. Well, I ain't either one of them. I'm definitely not a family member, a friend, and I'm sure not a fan. The fact of the matter is, everything that this woman said that he did, I believe her. And if it was a shakedown and if it was lies, why did you settle? And listen, guys, I'm not even a person that is against people settling when they feel like it's not worth the fight, but that's in some situations. It's not in all. When it comes to something like this and he has the money to defend himself, why give in? I was a legal assistant for 12 years. I am quite aware of how the legal system works, and I know that it is more expensive to litigate than it is to mediate and to settle. I know that. I'm quite aware of that. And some people may have mercy and grace for him and say, oh, well, he's lost some opportunities. So he may not be making the money like he had before. So it just was not worth him trying to litigate and fight the situation. But if he's all about his image and his character, which I don't believe he has much character, I believe is a freaking goofball. I don't know what the appeal is, with him. I guess when it comes to some sports fans, they just think back to the nostalgia of him being, this great football player or his position at tight end. Like I said, it still sounds creepy to hear people say that in relation to him. But I'm just saying, he gave in, and initially before the settlement, which they were already working towards. Like I said, the reason why Tony Busby and the plaintiff did not show up to court, it was because they were already working towards a settlement. But he wanted to spin the narrative that the case was, still moving forward, and the plaintiff and her attorney just did not show up. That was a play. So people reported on that. Even Tasha K, she had reported on it when that happened, and she said, Shannon Sharpe, he got a small win in court. The plaintiff's counsel didn't show up, and I just was like, that's not a win. It's not a win, and I just didn't get a chance to talk about it or record on it at that point in time. But I was going to say, this was not a win. This was a play. Just like the video of him talking about this is a shakedown. That was a play. Shannon Sharpe plays his followers. It's all about money. This man is such a freaking goofball. He has zero wisdom. And at the age that he's at, he has literally secured this woman and her family's future. And he, from what I've heard, because like I said, I'm not a fan, I'm not a follower, but from what I've heard him say about women, he's not looking to sponsor any women. He's not looking to sponsor anyone. You got to bring something to the table. First of all, I don't really know many women that actually have knowledge and wisdom and character and grace and integrity who, I'm not saying they would have as much as he has financially and career-wise, but has a good bit and would even want to be with somebody like him. Like for real. He's knocking on 60 and he spent the majority of his years, yeah, working and building his career and his legacy, but his legacy is pretty much this: building someone else's legacy because he was screwing the chick, all type of ways and doing slave play and all this other just gross stuff, right? Instead of being in a long-term committed relationship with somebody who could either fall in love with him or grow to love him, he just has such trust issues. And similar to what I talked about, guys, when it comes to people like R. Kelly and Diddy, just to name a few examples, these people may have had trauma in their childhood. A lot of people have. But really, once you get to a point in time, you don't have to be a freaking superstar or be a multimillionaire to start seeking help for your issues because there really is no excuse. I'm quite sure he has trauma. I honestly, personally believe that the man is gay, if not just bisexual. It's my personal opinion. My personal opinion. I'm not saying that I have proof of that, but I'm saying that's what I believe, and I have the right to my belief. And I believe that he possibly was getting touched as a child. I'm saying, guys, not just because he's a freaking football player, he has this strong build with all of the muscles and the rips and the cuts and all those things. But when you see Shannon Sharp, or at least I'm speaking for myself, when I see Shannon Sharp and I see him with his shirt off and posing and flexing and whatever, I see a man that was, in some way trying to fight or keep himself in a position to be able to fight anyone off because he possibly was touched as a child. It's my personal opinion. All right. But like I said, if you are cognitive enough to know that you have had childhood trauma and issues, why aren't you getting therapy? And therapy does not cure you, but therapy helps to give you the tools to help you work out what it is you have gone through so that you do not victimize anyone else or you don't continuously make terrible decisions throughout the rest of your life. And he obviously has been doing those things by screwing this chick that he met when she was like 19 years old. Like, seriously? Someone as younger than his daughter? And he's secured this woman's family and future. He has he has secured her, he's funded her, he's sponsored her when all she brought were her cheeks to the table. That was good enough, but he has people like himself, similar looking, melanated black men, we'll just put it like that, that black manosphere, which I don't talk about really over here, but we know it exists. And a lot of these dudes are just miserable. Some of them, they may be screwing different checks every night of the week. Some of them may be passport bros where they are traveling to other places to get with women that just see them as a lick, just see them as a mark, see them as some money. And some of them don't really have money, but they got more than the guys that they are messing with over where they are. And it's all about sex. It's nothing about like real long-term committed relationships. And it's a sad space to be in. I don't talk about relationships, guys, but I just really thank God for what I do have. I really do. I've been able to meet someone in my younger years and we've been able to just be together, grow together, whatever. And so in times of sickness and health, like we say in our marriage vows, we have each other to lean on. What does he have? His money. So he can hire some nurses or some caretakers or whatever. People don't really love you and wouldn't be there if you couldn't pay for it. And so a lot of the broke guys that follow people like him, they wind up being in nursing homes and, by themselves. And I want to share this clip. I feel like it's somewhat relevant to what I'm talking about when it comes to Shannon Sharpe because, I feel like this could be a word for him. And hey, it might be too late, but listen.
Men, a lot of y'all gonna end up single and alone at the end of your life too. I know y'all out here saying that it's hard for women to get married. It's hard for some of y'all to get married too. Because the women that God has for you, you overlooking them. You keep shooting your shot at women that don't even want you because you ain't got everything you supposed to have together. I'm gonna say it because y'all don't really understand.
Thank you. Thank you. All these guys talk about when it comes to having something is really about money. And yes, money is a necessary tool. It's an exchange for the things that we want to have in this life that we live and where we live. But they don't talk about character. They don't talk about integrity. They don't talk about, the desire to just go through hard times and struggles because we're all going to experience those things in life. They're just talking about money. And so pretty much a lot of them don't deserve good women and they really should just be single for the rest of their lives and die alone because they're not worthy of being in a relationship with a good woman. You just want somebody to just be there for you? Who are you?
Y'all try to say women gonna end up lonely. A lot of you men are gonna die single and alone because you will not let God work on your heart. You won't level up. The type of women you want, you don't even have the emotional intelligence to deal with them, the relational intelligence. You don't have the integrity. You don't have the leadership.
Preach.
And you shooting for that woman, but y'all won't talk about the ones that you shot for and they let you down and they told you no thank you. Y'all not ready to talk about the women that told you no thank you.
And honestly, that's it right there. That's it right there. The reason why a lot of these dudes are so angry and broken is because of the women that told them no. Let's be real. Let's be real. A lot of these people will never know what love is. The real definition of love. Like seriously. And so yeah, maybe all they deserve is somebody like what Shannon Sharpe had, which was, somebody that they're paying to screw. To just keep doing it until you can't do it no more. And yeah, you might be able to use it, male enhancement pills. I'll just say it like that, so that you can keep it up and keep doing what you're doing. But what if you wind up like Kevin Samuels, where when you're in the midst of doing what you do, you wind up dying alone? And for a lot of those guys, that was their savior. You know what I mean? And it's just really sad because a lot of them, they always want to talk about the leaders of the household. Like you are not in a position to be the head of anyone, not even of yourself. And the way this, story is, written up, it's cool. But really what she's speaking to is not about the woman that God has for them, because a lot of them, God don't have no woman for them because they don't even have themselves. They don't even have God. Like let's just go there. They don't even have God. They don't even have a relationship with God. And some of them, like Shannon Sharpe, they have a God complex. You know, a lot of them, they have a God complex like this dude. This is a shakedown. I'm suing for defamation. What, she's not getting anything but a lawsuit for defamation. When you filing the lawsuit, bro? So listen, guys. Ah, I'm telling you, I am no preacher, and I have my thoughts when it comes to situations like this. So what that woman said is just 100% truth. It's not facts, it's truth. Facts can change. Truth never changes. Truth never changes. Like the fact that gravity exists, that's a truth. It's not a fact, it's truth. That will never change. The fact is, today in my area, it's sunny and bright. That's a fact right now, but that fact can change in the afternoon when a thunderstorm breaks out. Facts change, truth never changes. What she spoke is 100% truth. It will never change, okay? So that's why Shannon Sharpe and, people clown, like people like the men that like Shannon Sharpe are the ones that clown Russell Wilson. Look at this, guys. This is something that Shannon Sharpe will never have. Russell Wilson, Sierra, still one of the biggest sports power couples. And I'm not saying it's about being a power couple or showcasing your relationship in front of the cameras or whatever, but if you have discernment, you can really tell that this man really loves this woman. And it don't help that she's beautiful and talented. But again, she brought herself to the table. This is who she really is, right? And so he's happily married. They just celebrated, I believe, their ninth wedding anniversary recently. And Shannon Sharpe, here you got Russell Wilson and his beautiful wife, and then you got Shannon Sharpe paying this OnlyFans model, I believe, close to the 50 million if she didn't get all of it. She definitely did not settle for the 10 million that was offered, because that's just not the way it works. If he had quietly offered her 10 million prior to the lawsuit even being filed, because we do have that information that was revealed, there is no way that she settled for less, let alone for that. That did not happen. So I would say she probably got somewhere between 30 to 40 billion, because you usually ask for the high amount and then you come down to an amount that both parties will agree to. He may not be happy about it, but hey, this was what he chose when he chose to be messing with this chick that he met when she was 19 years old and doing slave play with her and all the other disgusting, nasty, gross things that they were doing that was revealed, right? Having sex tapes and that he says he does not have, in his possession, and they were going to release it. He doxed the girl, right? I'm quite sure they brought that up because none of us knew who she was. She filed the lawsuit as a Jane Doe. He released her information. So I'm quite sure he paid for that as well, because he was emotional and he wanted to try to not get in front of the story, but he wanted to run alongside the story and change the narrative. So that is why initially the story came out that Tony Busby and the plaintiff did not show up to court. He played, you guys, he played that in that way so that you all would believe that he was scoring a win, and then he quietly settled for an undisclosed amount, and they wanted to harp on this case dismissed with prejudice. Of course, the case was dismissed with prejudice because that's what you always do when these cases are settled. Period. It's like you're doing this settlement to close this chapter, and you have to dismiss it with prejudice so that the person won't come back later to file another lawsuit for the same situation. It doesn't mean that she can't ever file a lawsuit against him ever again. I'm not saying that that would happen, because there probably is no other reason to do that. But what I am saying is, yeah, this case is dismissed with prejudice. But if there were other situations, it doesn't prevent her from suing him for anything ever again. So, and I'm not even, saying that to encourage that. I'm just saying what that means when it comes to a case being dismissed with prejudice. It just means that that lawsuit can't ever be filed ever again. And I'm not even saying that this could happen, but it doesn't stop the DA from doing an investigation to see if they want to press criminal charges. Because if he did RAPE her, that is a crime. And we're not talking about Diddy, guys, where some things were beyond the statute of limitations. But again, I'm not saying I'm encouraging that or I'm hoping for that or I'm expecting that. I'm just saying that when people make comments like, because I've seen the comments in the comment section. See, that's all she wanted. She just wanted money. Why didn't she go and file charges against him? It is up to the police and the DA whether they are going to press charges. Yes, she could file a police report, but that does not mean that they are going to file criminal charges. It doesn't happen that way. It's not up to her. And unfortunately, because we already know the justice system is not fair. I mean, right now, the Department of Justice is pushing for the police officer that shot into Breonna Taylor's apartment 10 times to serve 1 day in jail. 1 day in jail. The justice system is not fair. So, unfortunately, the criminal justice system, it is harder than the civil justice system. And in the civil justice system, the justice is money. You don't sue someone in civil court and get them arrested. Or they get found guilty and they have to go to prison. It never works that way. This is not the way it works. So, and the way the cases are, you know, they are administered and found either guilty or not guilty in the criminal justice system, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. If the jury has any doubt there, they are supposed to, it doesn't always happen this way, I know this, but I'm saying they are supposed to find the defendant not guilty. If there is any doubt, it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. In the civil justice system, in the civil court, it's the preponderance of the evidence whether they will find that the person is liable or not liable. It's not guilty or not guilty in the civil justice system. And all the jury can award is money, compensatory and punitive damages. If you sue someone for a car accident, unless, the person kills someone in the car accident, and then it's not the person suing them, it's the criminal justice system taking over to arrest that person. But if you sue someone for a car accident, car wreck, the only justice you can get is money. So to say, oh, all they want is money, they want justice, and the justice is in the form of money. So all the people in the comment section saying, oh yeah, we knew this is all she wanted, she just wanted money, you're damn right, that's what she wanted. She wanted justice, and justice is money in the civil justice system. Either deal with it, get with it, or get over it. But either way, he agreed to it. It has been quietly settled and dismissed. We do not have the details, but we know that Shannon Sharpe is full of crap, and he said that he was going to be suing her for defamation. And let's go ahead and play that again.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question.
You're trying to manipulate the media. No, you and your attorneys manipulated the media with that first story saying that Tony Busby did not show up to court, and neither did the plaintiff, you know, and saying that Tony Busby targets black men. It was targeting him. No, your manhood was targeting those cheeks on Miss Zuniga, and now she got the millions. She secured the bag. You secured her future. You talk all that bull crap over the years about how you're not looking to sponsor anybody. You talk all the crap about black women, and you need to mind your business and go worry about stealing some hair from a horse and all the just disparaging things that he said about black women. And then you're paying this Latino or whatever she is, young woman, all of this money because you were doing things to her that she was not happy about. Whether you say that she manipulated it or not, you were the dummy that went there and you did not do what this woman said that men should do. Let God work on your heart, let God work on your mind, and get over the hurt that you experienced in the past so that you could be with a woman that actually would be able to fall in love with you, love you for who you are, not just for what you have. Because trust and believe, if someone says they love you and it's just because of what you have, they don't love you. So I'm not saying that is even a thing. But what I am expressing is, yeah, he's going to be dying alone, or possibly like Kevin Samuels, which he was alone too. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to talk about that. It went a little bit longer than I expected, but I really want to know what you guys think. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.